Welcome to my Javaism, and in this video we are going to discuss about some more features about the OOPs. But let's just conclude whatever we have learned as of now. So in the OOPs we have learned like what is the OOPs, what is the use of the OOPs, what are the types and what are the features of the OOPs we can say. And then after we have started what is the encapsulations and how we can extend the parent class into the child class. So for that we have already looked at like what is inheritance. Okay, so inheritance having a like 5 types, but Java supports only 3 types of the inheritance. Okay, so we have discussed this encapsulation also. Let's go to the inheritance. Here you can see 5 types of the inheritance, but Java support only 3 types. Okay, why they are not support multiple inheritance in Java with the help of the class? So we can discuss it also, but today we have already discussed the single inheritance. We have see the example also, we have see the memory diagram also. Now we are going to learn about what is the multi-level inheritance, and it's a very important. Okay, let's go and try to understand what is the multi-level inheritance. So if you see here, this is the single inheritance. One is superclass and one is subclass, so having only 2 relations, which is parent and child, those you can say single inheritance. What is the multi-inheritance? Multi-inheritance means we have a superclass, subclass, and then after having a subclass, it means that me, my father and my grandfather. Okay, so this is the hierarchy you have to follow, which is 3 level or 4 level or 5 level. That level you can say multi-level inheritance. Okay, so those we are going to discuss, and whatever the labels you want to define, you can define, no issue in that. Okay, let's go and just check out. So this is the inheritance things, which is shape, and we have a one circle. So we have just we have already explained like where we can use the extend keyword, where we can use the implement keyword for extending the interfaces or extending the classes for that. Okay, so please check out the previous video also, so that you can understood this video. Otherwise maybe you get confusions like how things are going on. Okay, so this is the single inheritance. In the single inheritance, a class can inherit properties and method from the only one superclass. For example, you have a animal class here. Okay, let me show you. So this is the animal class and this is the dog class. So animals having some generic property which is extending the dog class. So dog also having a animal property. So we can say what? This is the single inheritance. Okay, let's talk about the multi-level inheritance in Java. So in multi-level inheritance, a class can inherit properties and methods. A class can inherit properties and method from superclass, which in turn can inherited properties and method from another superclasses, and so on. Okay, so here you don't want to think about like only we have a 2 superclasses and 3 hierarchy only. You can maintain the 10 hierarchy, 20 hierarchy, whatever it's possible, no issue in that. So let's see here, we have a one class called animal class. Okay, animal class having a one it method. Okay, fine. We have created another class which is dog class. So dog is extending the property of animals. Okay, so dog having a property of what? Animal also and dog also. Again, some labrador, Labrador. So this is the third class, which is Labrador, extend the dog. So this Labrador class having a properties of dog and animal also. So this class is having all those property, because if Labrador extend the dog and dog is extend the animals, so whatever the dog having a properties, maybe that's father property, dog father property, or animals property, it will come by default to the all those hierarchy. Okay, and this labrador is something having a swim methods, and you can see here. So this class is able to access this method also, this method also. Okay, so this is the things you need to understand. So let's go to the Eclipse. Where is my Eclipse? This one is my Eclipse, and let's try to explain it. Okay, so for example, if you see this example, we have a one class called animals. Next class we have a dog. Okay, and another class I am going to create. So in the previous lectures, while explaining a single inheritance, I have explained this is the animal class and this is the dog class. Okay, and in the dog we have created the main method, but now we are not going to create a main method inside the dog class. Okay, let's remove this. Let's remove this. Okay, and also remove the public class of those. Okay, don't make it public. And now what we can do is here you can change this class name to Labrador. Okay, and Labrador is one of the class. Okay, fine. So this is not going to give any pop-up. Do one thing, leave these things and just copy all those code. Okay, create one more class called Labrador. So class just we have created one class which is Labrador, and once class is created we can put this property here. Okay, so you can see, so we now need to import two times, only one times is fine. So this is the animals. Okay, you can see this is the animal class. Let me make it correct. So, and this is the dog class. So I don't want to make it this class as a public, because in the one file only one public class we can mention it, which is a name called file, and I don't want this method also. Okay, so let me remove this one. Okay, and here I can write one more method which is called public public and void and bark. Bark, it means bhokna, and s out. Okay, dog is barking. So this is the things we have created. Two classes. One is animal classes. Animal classes extended by the dog classes. And then after dog classes, I have created one more class which is Labrador classes. Here you can extend it, extend dog. Okay, so once you extend the dog, this Labrador class having a power to use this class and above class also, because dog is internally extending the animals. Animals, if extending any other classes, which is something like class A or something, and they extend also A, then our Labrador classes is able to access dog. Through the dog it will access the animals. Through the animals it will access the A also. So all those classes he able to access it. Okay, so this is called multi-level inheritance. Okay, because here you can see 4 classes I have created. Okay, and 4 classes is nothing but in the single way, one class extending the other class extending the other class. like those class. So that is the hierarchy we have, that is called a multiple inheritance. If you go to the slide here, you can see, okay. This is the multi-level inheritance, okay, and this is the single inheritance. The single inheritance we called if two classes are the participated, but if the three or more than three classes if participated in the inheritance, then definitely we can say these are the multi-level inheritance, okay. So let me create an object of the Labrador, okay. So first we need to write a main method. So created by the main method, create a Labrador. So if you create an object of the Labrador, L equal to new door. What will happen? Here what will happen? If you create an object of the Labrador, internally it's create an object for the Labrador, dog, eat, like animals or all those classes. Do you want to see the what we called memory diagram? So let me open the paint. Let me open the paint and I explain you like how the memory diagram will look like. So who is the parent class of all those classes? So object. So first take the object. Then after, who is the parent class of this who is the subclass of this parent? So A classes, we have created one A classes. Then who is the parent? So this is the object, this is the A classes. In top of that we have created one more classes, which is dog, animal classes. After the animal classes we have created one more classes, which is dog classes. So let's take the dog classes, and finally we have created Labrador classes, okay. So this is the big object you have seen here, that is Labrador, which is door L. Reference, it's pointing to this one object, okay. And then after this one is a object classes. This is a classes, this is a animal classes, this is a what we called, this is a dog classes, and finally this one is a Labrador. So inside the Labrador object only all those objects will be created, okay. So how they will call, how they will create a object? As of now we have know about object only created with the help of the constructor, okay. So let's go and see here. If you see here, if you created the object of the Labrador, what will happen? Labrador internally call the default constructor which is available inside this classes Labrador. You are not able to see, but it's executing here, okay. Let me create the Labrador what we call constructor, public, okay. And then after we can say Labrador. So this is the constructor we have created. Inside the constructor, in the first line only, we have called one super parenthesis. Let me explain this super parenthesis also, okay. It's already available by default, compiler will put here. So because of that, this Labrador check like I'm extending any classes or not. So yes, you have extended. So here is the super class of this Labrador. So Labrador super class is dog. So this super will call dog classes constructor, which is default constructor. So it will go to here, no, this will go to the dog classes. Okay, so this is the dog classes. Here if you see, there is no constructor, right? So we can create one constructor, like by default constructor is calling, so we can create a constructor so that we can see the output and each and everything. So we can create a public and what is dog class, and just open this and close it. Here internally also we have written, the compiler will be written super parenthesis, which is default parent class it will call. Okay, super means parent class constructor it will call by default. So whatever I am explaining right now, these are the default things which is not visible right now, but I am trying to show you it's a visible. So this is the dog constructors you can see, and inside the dog we have a first line super parenthesis. If you put this super parenthesis in the second line, it will not work, it will give the error. Let me put, if you try to create here any int a or something, or int a equal to 10, any variables, it's clearly saying like constructor all must be the first statement in the constructor. Constructor all must be the first statement in the constructor. So this is super parenthesis something, but it's a constructor call only of the super class. Okay, so let me remove. So this internally call the dog constructor from that laboratory to dog, and dog also check I have a super parenthesis, so I am extending any classes, yes, animal classes, so it will go to the animal classes, and because of the super parenthesis it will call animal class constructor. So right now there is no constructor, so it's calling the default constructor. Let me create the default constructor, which is publics animal. Okay, open close, and internally in the first line, even you write or not write, internally compiler will put super parenthesis. Okay, so this super parenthesis will check, okay, I'm extending any classes, yes you have extended, so which classes? So A classes. So if you go to the A classes, you can see there is no constructor, so it means that this A class is having a default constructor which is provided by the whom? We can say the compiler, and write the compiler public classes which is constructors, and here also having a super parenthesis. So because of this super parenthesis it will call the A classes, because of this it will call A classes constructor. So if you go with this one, okay, so there is no extend, but internally compiler will put like A class extend object class, because by default every class will be extended the object class. So because of this super parenthesis it will call the super class object. Let me open this super class object, and here you can see in the super class object having a also one method, one constructor called object. So this is the constructor in candidate. So constructor a new object. So for creating a new object, this will call and it will create an object for that. Okay, so this is the constructor chaining. So whatever the code I have written as of now, okay, you have seen here, because like this constructor is calling to the parent constructor, this constructor because of the super parenthesis, this constructor will call to the this constructor call with this constructor. So this is the constructor chaining, you can say. What is it called? Constructor chaining. So this is the constructor and we are making it chain. So let me put something. So let's print here s out, and you have to decide what is the output. So this is the A class, this is the animal class, This is the dog class, and this is the laboratory class. Okay, this is the one things. Okay, one more things. So when I create an object like that, it will start from the laboratory constructor internally. First, it will not execute this line of the code. First, in the first statement only having a super, so this will go to the super class, which is dog. In the dog, you can see this constructor will call, but it will not execute this line of the code. It will see the super parenthesis in the first line, so it will call those super classes. Why it's giving this type dog is already defined, where okay, in these classes we remove it. Okay, so here you can see it's a super classes, so it will call to the super classes. So once it will call the object classes, so in the object classes there is nothing, so again it will come return back. What will happen? Again it will come return back. So once it will come the return back, then this line is executed already, then this line will be executed, which is printed by A. Then this constructor is completed. Then who call this constructor? So animals constructor will call this constructor, so it will go to the animals, and this line is already executed. Then it will go to this line and it will execute it. It will print animals. Who call this animal constructor? So dog. So go to the dog constructor. So this line is already executed. It will execute this line of the code. It will go down. Who call this dog constructor? So laboratory constructor. So go to the laboratory constructor. This line is already completed. It will print this line of the code. And then after finally, it will go into the main pass out object created. Okay, let me run this code so that you can understood how they are working. Okay, so this is the first pretend, the A. It's coming from the above, A, then animals, then dog, then laboratory, then object created. If you don't understand still, I will do one thing. I will put here one debugger. Okay, so this is the breakpoint of the debugger, and let me start with the debug mode. Here you can see the debug mode. So once you run this code, switch to the debug mode. Once you switch the debug mode, here I have run the code, you can see, and right now our code is in the debug mode. Okay, so what will happen once this object is created? It's called this constructor, so it's calling this constructor. So because of the super, it will now call this constructor, dog constructor, because of laboratory extending the dog classes. So let me go down a step over. You can see laboratory constructors. Okay, if you see here, its object is created. Okay, do one thing. Here also put one breakpoint. Here also you can put breakpoint, and now you can execute it. So once you execute, you can see it's a stop here, laboratory call only. So it will go to the dog to the A. So where I have put it the constructor, it will go each and every constructor, and it will execute. It will come back, it will come back, it will come back, it will come back, and now you are able to see the flow. So first it's going to the above all those classes, and then again it's coming from the executing from top to down. Okay, so first object is created of object class, which we have seen here. First object will be created for the object class, then object will be created for the A classes, then object will be created for the animal classes, then after object will be created for the dog classes, then after object will be created for the laboratory classes, then finally this object is created, and now you are able to see this object. Okay, so I hope you understood what is the multi-level inheritance in Java. Okay, so this is the multi-level inheritance, and this is the properties and how they will work we have explained. Okay, if you have anything in your minds, any confusion, please let me know. So I will definitely help you to resolve those problems, and I will clear your doubt. Okay, thank you so much.